Greetings to everybody, and I hope everybody is well. And they wanted me to make some of the things direct through Zoom, and this is some of the questions that I've received. I will go through these questions first, and then if there are other questions, they can also ask me directly. So I will directly go to the questions first. First question is, the question is from Andy. For those who are connecting with the course freshly now, could you maybe say a little bit about who Shantideva was and where his teachings came from? Was it sutras, his gurus, or divine inspiration? Also, why was he considered unorthodox by his colleagues at Nalanda University? Shantideva was born as a prince in what kind of southern part of India. And then when he was young, he received some instructions and empowerment on Manjushri, and he practiced Manjushri. And he had a great kind of faith and devotion to. And when he was about to be enthroned as the king, that night he had a dream. And in that dream, he saw Manjushri sitting on the throne that he was supposed to sit. And then Manjushri said, do you really want to sit on the seat that, on my seat? And then he woke up, and he thought that this was an indication to say that he should not sit on the throne of the king. So he ran away. And then he went to eastern part of India. And there he met a teacher, and then he studied there, he practiced, he became very learned and a realized master. And then he traveled everywhere and did lots of things. Times and sometimes he would do lots of different kind of things. Like sometimes it is said that he stayed with beggars in a community of beggars for some years. For some years, he became the bodyguard of a king, and then later on general. Although he didn't, there's a kind of anecdote that when he was the general of that kingdom, then he was very successful, and everything he kept, in peace and everything. But he didn't have a real sword. He only had a sword made of wood. And somebody found this out. That was maybe some people he was jealous of him. And then they thought that was his weak point. Powerful, but actually he doesn't even have a sword. He has only a wooden sword. If you want, you can ask him. So next time when king met him, the king said, can you show me your sword? Then the Shantideva said, no, you should not see the sword. The king became even more kind of insisting. He said, you must show me the sword. So then he said, okay, but don't keep one of your eyes completely closed. You should see it only with one eye. And then he did that, and then he took out the sword from its sheath a little bit, and there was so much light coming out of that it kind of and then one time he came to Nalanda University, and in Nalanda University he was staying there, but he was neither attending classes nor giving any teachings. So he was just staying there in one of the kind of straw meeting, the kind of governing body or somebody like that had a meeting. And then they found a way. They said that, okay, we ask him to give a teaching. And since he has not studied or he's not participating, it must be that he don't know how to teach. So he will naturally go away because he wouldn't be able to give a teaching. And so then our problem is solved. So that's why they made they announced that this time Shantideva or the Pusuku will give a teaching to everybody, so everybody should come. So they made a big throne on the in the field, very high, without any stairs, just to embarrass him. And everybody came. And then on the appointed time, he just appeared. He went, he just sat on the throne. They didn't even know how he climbed the throne. And he said, what kind of teaching you want me to give? Something that is already there or something that's new? So everybody said something completely new. Then he gave this teaching. He recited this text by himself. And as he started, then everybody was very impressed because it was so wonderful. So they started to take notes and things like that. So this is the story of Bodhicaryavatara. Bodhicaryavatara is that teaching he gave on that occasion in Nalanda University. And he was regarded as unorthodox because he was not participating in any, because in Nalanda University, everybody studied, everybody went to classes, or everybody participated, but he was not. That's why. And this Bodhicaryavatara is, of course, is completely, it is also mentioned in the text in the beginning. He said that there's nothing I said which is not already said by the Buddha. So it's completely coming from the sutras, but he kind of essentialized all the teachings from different sutras, and put them in a very kind of inspiring and in a small book. So that's why it became very important and became very, very popular text, actually textbook in India also. And lots of great Indian masters wrote lots of commentaries on this. There were about 50 different commentaries, I think they said. And in India, that people have found out, people have mentioned. And in Tibet, of course, there are many more of this, the commentary by Khenpo Kunpal, the Nectar of Manjushri speech, that's, published by Shambhala. You will find a short biography there also. There is not very detailed biographies. You don't find too much detailed biography, but this is how it is found. This is the first question. The second question is from François. Thank you very much for showing us the bodhicitta also make us more resilient, strong and stable in the middle of the crisis. To make sure that I have understood well the emptiness of arising phenomena, which must be expressed in appropriate supportive action. Is it okay to say in this way? Yes, you can say it in this way, but actually, bodhicitta means the heart of the mind of Buddha. Buddha's kind of Buddha's mind, bodhicitta. Buddha's state of mind is bodhicitta actually. Bodhisattva's state of mind. And what we call a Buddha, completely, what we can try to explain in simple words from Buddhist point of view. You can say that wisdom and compassion, in short, in essence, wisdom and compassion together is that enlightened mind. So wisdom is usually absolute bodhicitta, and compassion is usually called relative bodhicitta. But they are very connected, So when you say absolute bodhicitta, that means wisdom. Wisdom means that the experience of understanding and experiencing the things as they really are. Undiluted mind, awakened mind, the mind completely free from any ignorance or any defilement, any unclarity. That's absolute bodhicitta or wisdom. Now, if you like to, if you try to understand how do we develop that bodhicitta, absolute bodhicitta, how do we try to understand that or experience that? Then try to see how things are. The way we see things should be as it is. If we see things as they really are, then it's true. Then it's absolute truth. That's why absolute, bodhicitta. It's deluded. So therefore, this is about that. So anything that gives us a little bit absolute bodhicitta. Therefore, if we see everything, if we see that things are, everything is because of causes and conditions, then we see a little bit more clearly how things are. If we see things are interdependent, we see a little bit more how things really are. If we see things in emptiness, all those, whatever, you call those things, but the way things, absolute bodhicitta, and then anything that would, the relative bodhicitta is, of course, kindness, compassion, Because when when you are a little bit more able to see things how they are, that should a little bit lessen our too much kind of selfishness, too much self-centeredness. Therefore, a little bit more understanding, kindness, compassion, to know that everybody is equal, to know that, everybody doesn't want to have suffering and pain. Then, we are all, like nowadays, even this coronavirus is showing us very clearly, how similar all of us are. It affects everybody. It doesn't spare poor and destitute and things like that. It goes to everybody, same. And then, it doesn't touch only one country, not another country. It doesn't, only one religion, and not another. It doesn't select which kind of gods it worship, what they believe. It's like that. It's everybody. So the more we understand that, then the more compassion grows. So therefore, the compassion and is usually relative bodhicitta, and sometimes it is easier to start with relative bodhicitta, compassion. And if we get some understanding of compassion, that also helps us to understand and experience absolute bodhicitta, because this when we say understand, it's not absolute bodhicitta, because it's from there you understand more experientially. It's more kind of and that's why it's like that. Yes, you can say like this if you like. The third question is from Linda. If one feels some anger within oneself, but has the main thing is that why you don't want to act on this, and that's, I think, important thing. If you see that it's not necessary, it's not useful, it's not worthwhile, it's not good for me or good for the other or good for us, that's patience, and that's very good. But if you just out of fear or out of not having the ability, feeling kind of overwhelmed, or because you don't have the power, and then I don't know, But anyway, one should start with somewhere. So it's, I think, good. Then the fourth question is, I think it is Marlo, relative to the selfless actions of the doctors and nurses at this time. Can you give some teaching on the smaller steps we can all make to stabilize and strengthen the armor of fearlessness, and how we can serve others besides doing Dharma practice? For instance, how can we all improve on the path, and what can young people do to help elderly people? Now this is, I must say one thing here, it says, besides doing Dharma practice. If we are helping people, that's Dharma practice. There is nothing called Dharma practice other than that, So therefore, if that you don't call Dharma practice, then I don't know what is Dharma practice. There's nothing called Dharma practice. This is very important to understand, because most people think Dharma practice is just sitting in meditation, or doing some rituals, or saying some mantras, or that is also maybe some kind of Dharma practice, but the real Dharma practice is that working on ourselves, working with compassion, working on transforming our negative emotions, and also helping others, like that. Now here, it's, I think I said it in the beginning also in the teachings, that like if you are staying home, say like nowadays, it's most of the places, it's a lockdown. And people are asked by the government and also the doctors to stay at home and do not go around too much. And do not go to kind of places where there are lots of people. This is because you don't want to get the virus and you don't want to give it to others. So if you stay home with the intention that I don't want to harm myself, I don't want to get ill, but more importantly, I don't want to give it to the others and make other people ill and sick. With that intention, if I do that, I think that is also helping. That's helping. That's Dharma practice. That's helping others, especially older people, because if older people get it, it's very difficult that they survive. You can see that so many people have died, and many of them are elder people. It's not that only elder people die; many young people die too. But elder people are much more vulnerable. So therefore, this is also like in this way. You can't say you have to do it this way. There's nothing like that. You need to think in the situations, in that situation you are in that circumstances you are in, and others are, then what would be the best thing you can do? You can do something to help somebody. Maybe there is somebody, elderly person, in your locality. Maybe he or she cannot go out to do the shopping, because I don't know what's the situation in many places, but like in India, no cars are allowed to run on the streets. No taxis, no buses, no train, no nothing. So therefore, elder people, even in Sikkim, they can go and shop, like they can get medicines, or they can get like vegetables and things like that. But to go down home is quite it's not easy for elder people. So if the younger person can help them to do that, that would also be very helpful. So it doesn't matter whatever, So this is, you have to see in what capacity, in what situation you can help, And then if you can't see that it's needed, then you can just sit there. You can do your own, something on yourself. And also, the armor of fearlessness, this is, as I said before, not useful, not not necessary, also not useful. Especially, it's not because the things happen in the life, but then sometimes there's nothing you can do. It just happens. So the more you're afraid you are, the fear doesn't help. Panic doesn't help. So therefore, if I have to die today or tomorrow or in this week, then I will die. Fearing doesn't prevent me from this happening. So therefore, it's no use. So I need to fearlessly, I need to joyfully, happily, meaningfully spend today. Then, that doesn't mean that I have to be, I have to act kind of rashly, or I have to not be careful, and do something that would be harmful to me, or risk myself, risk others. That's not fearlessness. That's not good. I think that's 4 questions. And then there is 2 more questions about, which is not so much related to the teachings. The first one is, I think it's from Bob. Could you explain the differences of potential outcome between one attending a teaching, practice, or retreat in person versus watching a recording or live streaming of them? In particular, is there something that is lost by not being present in person at these and instead watching a recording or live streaming? If so, what is lost, and how can we best utilize recorded or live streamed teachings and practices at this time? Also, are there types of teachings or retreats? This is a new technology. This is a completely new technology we have now, which I think is very good. So I feel that a teaching that you receive in the presence of a Lama directly, or that you receive a teaching like this or recorded, I think there is not so much difference. The main thing is the teaching. The main thing is the teaching. Sometimes I feel that, when I give a teaching, I give a talk, I like to see the faces of the people. If I don't see the faces of people, I don't feel like reaching them. I don't feel like I'm actually reaching them or not reaching them, or in what way. So according to the people there and according to their reactions on their faces, I can change. I can change what to say and not to say, and where to go, more explain, and where to not to explain, and things like that. So the teachers, depend a lot on the how they see their students, especially how the reaction, the faces. That is one thing I think you will not find when in the recorded teaching. So it's very general. So therefore, that's one maybe shortcoming. Teaching in your leisure time. So therefore, there are also very good things. Some things, the teachings, in Buddhism, it's always like that. What teaching? There's so many different teachings and so many different practices and things like that. And it's not always that every teaching is useful or suitable for everybody. A small group, then you kind of know what you can teach there, what they can understand, what things you don't need to explain. So therefore, if I say something which is not suitable to somebody, then the person will listen to it, and then he will not be benefited by that, and sometimes not even not benefited, but also may have some misunderstanding or don't like it. Buddhism is like that. The teaching of Lama, we just heard a little bit something from one small thing, and then you assume from there that that's the whole thing. And so this is one thing which is a little bit important to understand. Then the next question is, could you talk about if and how Tuti can be helpful at this time, and how it may work on both a physical, mental, and spiritual level? Tuti, this is very Vajrayana, this is very Tibetan. I think you don't have Tuti in any other Buddhist culture or anything. A medicine for a particular disease. It's, you practice, there's a big dukchin, and then you practice it, and then you bless all kind of non-poisonous herbs put together, and then you bless it, again and again and again. There's many kind of days and days of practice on it, say mantras and meditation and things like that, day and night together. And then you make this Tuti, which is, blessed medicine, you can call it. And this, and also by many monks together. It's not by one person, two person. It has to be no less than 20, sometimes hundreds of people do the practice. And now this is used, sometimes people take it as a blessing, for anything. If you feel a little bit unwell, you take it. If you feel a little bit for anything. So sometimes it helps, sometimes it does not. So I don't know. It's like this mantra and things like that. So you can, because you can eat it. You can eat a little bit. It's not, that is for sure, because there's nothing. There's no. There's a collection of all the non-poisonous, positive herbs. So there's nothing, no reaction to it. So that's it. So I think that's all the questions this is today. So thank you very much. I don't know if there's time for other questions. Is there other questions?
Hello, Rinpoche. Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
It's about the connection between emotions and strong emotions and would not otherwise do, and which we regret later, and so on, like if we are under the emotion of anger, for instance. But sometimes also we may think that this emotional energy is kind of helpful and even seems necessary to get anything done. So without these strong emotions, is there enough energy? What is the connection of emotions and energy?
I think it is like this. If you act with a positive emotion, positive motivation, then strong emotion, like strong kind of compassion or love, then you do positive things, and then there's more positive, energy. If you react with a strong negative emotion, then it will become, more negative energy. So I think it's not about emotion, but it's about what kind of emotion. Yeah. You want to call it energy or not is up to you, but it gives you the push. If you have very strong compassion, then you will do more compassionate things, more helpful things, more, if you are moved by it, you are more moved, you have strong motivation. Yeah? So that's the difference, If the emotion is a positive emotion, then it's very, very good. It's very useful. If the emotion is a negative emotion, then it gives lots of harm. Coming up, or you are, then you need to see whether this is a positive kind of emotion or a negative kind of emotion. So if it is a negative kind of emotion, then you need to understand this and then find a way to let it go, or turn it, or change it. Sometimes we can transform it, and then we need to try to generate more positive emotion. Like when we talk about generating bodhicitta, generating compassion, changing our motivation and things like that. And in a way, we are talking about emotions. We are talking about our motivation to motivate ourselves, to make our strong intentions to do something positive, helpful, useful. So I think, thank you very much. I think that's all for today. Wish you all the best. And I think in some time, His Holiness Karmapa will be leading some prayers for all the world, so that we will be free from this pandemic, and have also for those people who have suffered and who have died during this difficult time, and also for those who are working hard and great sacrifice for people who are sick all over the world. So thank you very much, and wish you all the best. Thank you.